So Donald Trump has to send in the military to California to turn on the water because Gavin Newsom and Democrats refuse to turn on the water to put out the fires for environmental reasons. Let that sink in. Gavin Newsom and Democrats let California burn to the ground because they didn't want to put the water on. Well, that's their excuse. That's their outside excuse. That's what they'll tell the public. That's what they'll tell all the liberal nut jobs in California. But the real truth behind that is they want it to burn to the ground, like what happened in Maui, so Gavin Newsom can rebuild everything and sell it to the highest bidder. He could sell it to Oprah. He could sell it to The Rock. He could sell it to all the Democrat elites. That's his plan. That's why he shimmies and dances as California burns to the ground and people lose their homes. Not everybody in California is a multimillionaire or an athlete or a actor or whatever. Some people bought their homes a long time ago for cheap, and they have no insurance on the house now because the insurance companies right before the fire said, oh, we're not giving you fire coverage anymore, and then their homes burnt to the ground. So where do those hardworking people go, Gavin? See, Gavin is more concerned about illegals, criminals, drug addicts, the cartels who operate freely in California, growing marijuana. They operate the fentanyl trade. They operate in the sex trade, the human trafficking, selling children. It's time for Donald Trump to call on the special forces, give them direct orders to wipe out every single cartel in Mexico. Every cartel around the world should be wiped out. Not just Mexico. If you are a cartel and you are engaging in bringing narcotics into the United States of America, weapons, human trafficking, sex trafficking, you need to be put on an enemy combatant list, and Donald Trump needs to get the special forces, give them direct orders where they report directly to Donald Trump, and it gets handled once and for all. The cartels have killed millions of Americans, millions, with fentanyl poisoning. China is also responsible for the fentanyl along with these cartels. China is no friend to America's. It's time to let these cartels know and China know that our children, the citizens of America, are no longer going to be victims and pawns in your disgusting game. You know, Donald Trump today also, he located 80,000 kids who Alejandro Mayorkas and Joe Biden and Democrats said they had no clue where these kids were, and Trump found them. Trump found them in less than a week. Alejandro Mayorkas went in front of Congress and said he had no clue where they were and that they would have to get back to them. Alejandro Mayorkas should be arrested for sex trafficking, human trafficking, and a whole host of other crimes. You're not above the law. The cartels yesterday also shot at our border patrol. Just opened fire because they're frustrated that they can't get people across. It is time for Donald Trump to set the tone to the criminal world that your behavior is unacceptable, and on his watch, it's not going to happen anymore. Every branch of the service, if they sent 10 of their best special forces soldiers, by the end of the month, the cartels would no longer exist. It's about that time. It's that time. Donald Trump was also talking about how he wants to build an Iron Dome, kind of like what is built in Israel to keep out the rockets, missiles, drone attacks. Of course, Democrats are mad, and, Democrats are saying, he's acting like a dictator. He sent the military to secure the border. He sent the military to turn on the water in California. Well, when you try to do things politely and call and say, hey, I'm giving you an order as the President of the United States, turn on the water, secure the border, and Democrats say F you, and because of their F you, people lose their lives, then Donald Trump has to do what Donald Trump has to do. He has to be an adult. It's called being an adult. It's called making a tough decision. It's called putting Americans and America first and the safety of our people here. He also floated the idea, Donald Trump floated the idea, how we have prisoners that are just rotting in prison for hundreds of years that have committed 40 to 50 crimes, felonies. He wants to pay foreign lands to house them instead of housing them here on the taxpayer dime. They'll be free over there, but they just can't come back to America. I think it's a great idea. I think it's time to give all these other countries what they give to America. They do the same thing to us all the time. Oh, take our criminals, empty our mental institutions, you deal with it, we don't give a F. And by the way, if you try to send them back, like, can you imagine how arrogant the president of Mexico is and Colombia and all these South American countries saying that they're not going to take their own people back? F you. Who the F are you? Clown show. If I'm Trump, I would laugh. I'd be like, well, you know what? Here's another option. I can just declare you an enemy combatant of America, say that you're acting in a hostile manner, and we can go to war and we can see how that'll turn out for you. This is the other liberal Democratic lie and narrative. Trump is giving our allies a hard time. All these South American allies. He's giving our allies a hard time by making them take their illegals back or their criminals back. Allies don't let, if they were our allies, they wouldn't let criminals from their country come into our country. They wouldn't let their people illegally enter the United States of America if they're our allies. Those aren't allies, morons. Those are enemy combatants of the United States of America. I'm going to end it with this. Donald Trump was chosen by God for a reason to lead America, and he was chosen by the people of this country who voted him in. He is the only man that has the guts, intelligence, and the conviction to clean up the mess that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the rest of the Democratic crime machine have created.